Hello there, and welcome to today's episode of the Only Endometriosis podcast you need. Today, I'm going to be issuing a bit of a heartfelt, soul-led kind of apology, but also not an apology, but a bit of an explanation as to where I've been over the last few weeks. It's actually nearly a month since I released the last podcast. The break wasn't intentional, it's not something I meant to do, but it was definitely very much needed. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, the lessons I've learned over the last month or so, and something exciting at the end. If you are one of my regular listeners, then I do apologise for my absence. If you're not one of my regular listeners, but you're new to this, then you won't have even realised there was a gap in broadcasting. So this is a bit of a weird but bonus episode for you. So let's dive in. Yes, it's been about a month since I released my last podcast. And in that month, I have been meaning to record a podcast every single week. It's just not been possible to. The weather has been incredibly hot. I have been incredibly busy. Have I been more busy than normal? My head has been telling me I've been more busy than normal. And it has felt like an emotional labour. It's been like really intense pressure on myself. Nobody else has been putting pressure on me, but being visible and sharing my voice, sharing my story, sharing my wisdom, in inverted commas, has felt like it has just been an insurmountable mountain over the last few weeks. Because when I make these podcasts, it isn't just about sharing content. It's not just about my story. I do actually put a little bit of me into everything that I do, so it can be absolutely exhausting. That's not a bad thing, but I talk so much to my clients about managing your energy, about listening to your body, tuning in when you need rest, that rest is good, and I realised that actually I haven't been doing that to the best of my ability recently. So I should have planned a break. Oh, there's that word should. I tell so many people not to use it. But I should. No, I shouldn't. I should have planned a break. I should have said to myself, I'm going to take a few weeks off. And I didn't. I tried to plough through and just didn't have the emotional energy, the emotional capacity to record any podcasts. So this podcast, I wasn't going to record it, but I think it's actually probably quite nice for a lot of you to hear me say that even as so-called experts do get it wrong. And again, that's harsh language. My clients will be shaking their heads at me, but it's probably nice to know that even someone like me who has managed my hormones, who's managed my endometriosis for so many years, still struggles. I don't necessarily think it's anything to do with the endometriosis. It might be a little bit. Certainly perimenopause is having an impact. But just general life. I'm a massive introvert. My energy is very sparse when it comes to being extroverted. After so many years of kind of trying to fit into an extrovert corporate world. So for those of you out there who feel like me, those of us who feel that putting ourselves out there, breaking through our comfort zone and trying is exhausting, this episode is very much designed to say that it's okay to rest, it's okay to say no, it's okay to draw those boundaries, and it's okay for those boundaries to move. I genuinely thought I could release a podcast once a week, and when I'm feeling extroverted, when my energy isn't depleted, for want of a better word, not necessarily that my energy is being depleted, but my capacity to put myself out there has been depleted. And that's when it's so hard to sit there and be visible, be vulnerable, even if it's just in a slight way. I definitely needed more rest. I definitely needed to shift some stuff. I needed to listen to my body, my brain fog, my physical tenderness, almost a slight flare-up. It wasn't an endometriosis flare-up. I don't know what sort of flare-up it was. An anxiety flare-up, maybe? I don't know. But I needed to listen to my body. I needed to listen to what my body was telling me. My bloating, my tiredness, my brain fog was all telling me that I was just trying to do too much. And even thinking about doing this, even having this podcast on my to-do list and constantly having to push it back a day, Sunday coming round, the anxiety because I hadn't released it. All of that was taking a toll. So I did a lot of work this week and I'm back. I've been prioritising my clients, and that felt like the right thing to do. It absolutely is the right thing to do. If you're running your own business or if you're in a job, it's the money that talks. And no matter what your political bent is, we live in a capitalist world. So if people are paying you money, be that clients, be that employers, then that's where the obligation lies. So that's where I've been pouring my energy, and that felt absolutely the right thing to do. So this podcast, the social media, the blog writing, all the stuff that I enjoy doing, but there is no actual obligation to do, is the stuff that falls away when I am feeling that way out, when I'm feeling tired, when I'm feeling less resilient. And I talk a lot about seasonal work. So I don't mean fruit picking, although that sounds like such a lovely thing to do right at the moment. I talk a lot about planning and delivering your work on a seasonal basis. So if we think about our cyclical planning, if we sync our cycles to how we're working, that can be really, really powerful. And I talk a lot about how seasons reflect in our cycles. So how, if you're having natural bleeds, the time around ovulation is very fertile. That's kind of your spring, summer time when everything is kind of building up, exactly the way that spring builds up to summer. Your fertility, your creativity is starting to blossom, and then summer comes and you're at your absolute most attractive in terms of magnetic personality. You are attracting people to you around the time of ovulation. Then we move into autumn and winter, when we're kind of slowing things down. Things are getting a lot more chilled. We're looking to rest. We're looking to go back into our caves and hibernate. And I talk a lot about planning your work around that. And one thing I very seldom talk about is actually how to make that work with your natural personality traits as well. So my natural personality trait, I would say, is autumn. I'm very much kind of quiet, chilled. I like a good relax. I like quiet. I like calm. And normally what I do is plan my podcast recording for the spring, summer. So when I'm in the run up to ovulation, or around ovulation, when I'm at my most creative, when I'm at my most magnetic. And those of you who know me know I'm not magnetic, but you know what I mean. When I'm feeling at my most kind of engaging, naturally. But because my personality is more autumnal, when I get those glitches, let's call them glitches, that's probably a bit harsh as well, but when I get those natural ebbs and flows, when I get more of that kind of need to relax, that kind of, my body's telling me that I'm doing too much, my personality, my autumnal personality comes to the fore. And actually, even around the summer or the spring of my cycle, my autumnal traits shine through. So when I have that normal, I can't believe the language I'm using in this episode, but when I have my normal to me podcast recording time, so the summer stroke spring of my menstrual cycle, when I'm recording my podcasts, that natural window is actually quite a small window in general for me anyway. But when my energies are so autumnal, that gap is, I think we're probably talking half an hour a month. And it's not possible to record one of my podcasts in half an hour a month, because if you have listened to a few, I do go on a bit. So it's not always possible for me to drum up that energy. And no matter how much I try to, no matter how much I disregard my own advice and try and push through, it hasn't been possible this last few weeks. And that's fine. And I am going to tell myself exactly what I would tell a client. That is absolutely fine. There is nobody relying on you. You haven't broken any promises. You haven't done anything detrimental to anybody. You've not harmed anyone. All the intentions have been good. You have listened to your body and you've done what your body has told you. So that is a good thing. It's a powerful thing. It is absolutely okay to take a break. And actually taking that time off, even though it wasn't planned, and even though it probably added to my anxiety with a small a, added to my overwhelm maybe with a small o, whatever it was I was going through, the guilt of not recording the podcast, probably added to it. So had I just said, you know what, this month it's not happening, I'm just going to take some time out and you're not going to get a podcast this month, that probably would have been a lot easier. It certainly would have been a lot less stressful, but I didn't, and that's okay, because we don't always know what's around the corner. Your boundaries are incredibly powerful things, but this lesson, these last few weeks, has taught me as well that no matter what boundaries you put in place, you cannot foretell what's going to happen. So be gentle with yourself. If your boundaries have to shift at all for any reason, just be gentle with yourself. Listen to your rhythm, but adjust your rhythm if you need to. Take a break when you have to, and put your energy where it's needed most. That old adage, you can't pour for an empty cup, is absolutely true. And the more empty your cup is, the more careful you have to be with what's left in it. And that's absolutely fine. You're not failing. I don't know if I'm talking to myself here. You're not failing. You're not doing anything wrong. You're just responding to your life. You're responding to your energy. You're responding to your body talking to you with genuine compassion. And that's all you can do. If you're struggling with endo, struggling with menopause, perimenopause, adenomyosis, whatever it is that you've got going on, even if you don't know, even if it's just a feeling like I've been this past month, I can't put my finger on what it is that's been happening. I just know that my body has been talking to me in a way that I needed to listen, and that is fine. So what am I going to do about it? What actual lessons have I learned from this last month? And I'm going to share this with you, because if you are, or have been, or if you find yourself in this situation, then my words may resonate. So what am I going to do about it? Well, first thing, I'm going to let go of perfectionism. I'm going to let go of that word should, even though I've already used it this morning once already, but I'm going to let go of that should, that perfectionism. Getting something done is getting something done is better than getting it done perfectly, and getting nothing done is sometimes completely fine if it's going to be better than getting it done at all, if that makes any sense at all. Let me start that again. Getting something done is better than getting something done perfectly, and sometimes getting something not done is better suited to you. Still doesn't make much sense, but I hope you understand what I'm saying. So I'm going to set a new commitment to realistic consistency. So if I need to take a month or two off, what I might do is have, I don't know, a bit of a contingency plan. So when I'm feeling vibrant and buoyant and summer, I will record some spare podcasts, maybe, so that they can go out if I'm not feeling it. So I always have something in my back pocket. Having that realistic contingency that actually it's okay not to force the energy. If the energy is not there for recording a podcast, then I've got one spare that I have done previously. I might look at voice notes. I might look at shorter episodes. So maybe you might just get, I don't know, a 15-minute, no, that's still quite a commitment, a 5-minute rambling on the benefits of mindful breathing outside. You might get one of those midweek, just so that I can still be providing helpful content, providing stuff that can help without overwhelming myself and without overwhelming you as well, because let's be honest, who always wants to listen to a half-hour podcast or more? I know. Maybe raw reflections, maybe diary. If you're on my Substack, you might get a few more written updates rather than verbal updates. I'm still going to try and commit to a weekly podcast, but just have these things as a contingency in my back pocket that are not scheduled, they're not timetabled, so people aren't expecting things of me that sometimes I just can't deliver. Like I say, sometimes I have to prioritise my clients. And I think my clients would thank me for that too. So I'm also going to build in breaks, and I'm going to talk to you slightly more about that in a second, but I'm going to build in breaks. I don't have to work 52 hours a year. That'd be perfect. I don't have to work 52 weeks a year. Quite often, well, I'm going to say pretty much all of the time, people don't start businesses because they want to work more. I certainly didn't start Halcyon because I wanted to work more hours than I was working in my job. I'm not certain I thought about how many hours I wanted to work, but I certainly didn't want to get stressed, and I didn't want to be working constantly. And actually, when I sat down and reflected over this last month or so, I realised that I haven't actually taken a day off for work for years. Even during lockdown, when I wasn't officially working, I was still either planning or thinking, and I haven't actually turned off my mind from Halcyon for a long, long time. And this isn't a pity party. I'm not saying this. I love doing Halcyon. It feels like a hobby, which is part of the problem because it doesn't feel like work. So even on an evening when I'm just, I don't know, writing a social media post or finding something wholesome or supportive or insightful to share, my mind's still ticking because it feels like a hobby. So my pledge to myself going forward is to build in rest time, meaningful rest time, where I'm not thinking, where I'm not planning, where I'm literally reading a book, where I'm literally sat outside with my feet in a paddling pool and a chilled glass of something lovely by my side, and I am completely switched off. My pledge is to do that a little bit more for myself. I am going to give myself permission to pause. I'm going to give myself permission to let things be, and to not worry if I don't release a podcast, or not worry if I don't get my Monday morning happiness prompt out to people. Give myself that permission just to take a break. If you're listening and you find yourself feeling exactly the same, then I do urge you to do the same. And I like the word pledges, as you know. Not too keen on the word promise, not too keen on the word resolution. They seem quite harsh and quite final. A pledge just feels a lot more gentle. I pledge to myself that this is what I'm going to do. I also urge you to be gentle with yourself around your boundaries. A lot of us really struggle to put boundaries in the first place, and it's such an achievement. And again, I'm speaking about my clients, but I'm also speaking about myself here. I went for years, many, many years, without having solid boundaries and all the stuff that comes with that. And I know that a lot of you are exactly the same as me. We struggle to put boundaries in place. And actually, when we get them in place, when we finally get those boundaries up and running, we can feel like they are solid, that they're strict and stringent, and actually, no, this is my boundary and I'm sticking to it. Some are absolutely and should absolutely be rigid. If we have a boundary and somebody oversteps it, then we need to acknowledge that that is a boundary, and we need to then think about what we're going to do. The boundaries with ourselves, especially when it comes to our resilience and our energy levels, can be a bit more flexible. I'm going to give myself, I pledge to give myself permission to shift those boundaries as and when I need to. Again, healing can shift. Healing can look very different, and it does require an element of honesty. And I haven't really been honest with myself these last few years. I have been trying to do too much. I've been taking too much on, and I know that, again, this will resonate with a lot of you. So again, I pledge to be more honest with myself, and pledge to listen to my body more, and really listen, not say, okay, I acknowledge the pain, I acknowledge the bloating, whatever it is I'm having that day, and then carry on regardless and doing whatever it was I was doing. I'm not just going to tick that box anymore. I'm truly going to trust myself, to listen to myself, and to come back to myself when I'm ready, and do what my body is telling me it needs. And I'm going to reflect properly more regularly. Again, this is something that my clients will probably tut and raise their eyebrows with a wry smile, because it's something that I think I've pretty much said this to all of my clients over the however long it's been that I've been doing one-to-one programs. But quite often we talk about reflection, and I talk about reflection a lot, and I talk about sitting back and gently checking in with how we're feeling. And my clients know that actually, when we're feeling at our lowest ebb, when our energies are their narrowest, their gentlest, it's actually the hardest time to reflect. The easiest time to reflect, and the same with journaling, I put journaling in the same boat as this. The easiest time to reflect and the easiest time to journal is when we're feeling positive, when we're feeling good, when we're feeling happy, when our vibrations are high. And actually, when we're not feeling like that, it's really, really difficult. And I encourage my clients, when they are feeling at their lowest, in inverted commas, not necessarily emotionally low, but energetically low, and they don't feel like reflecting, they don't feel like journaling, that's the time when I urge them to do it. And actually, I have lost that part of my own advice as well over the last few months. So that's something I'm going to pledge to do with myself as well. I'm going to get back into the habit of journaling and reflecting, even when my energies, or That's not strictly true. I was going to tell myself something that I used to tell myself a long time ago. Even when I tell myself that my energies aren't right for journaling, I will acknowledge the fact that actually that's the time when I need to be doing this. That's the time when I do need to be journaling. So thank you to all of you who have stuck around during this month, to the people who I know listen to my podcast regularly. You are absolutely my people, and I thank you for sticking with me even when the sound waves are quiet. I hope that this is a nice return. I shall be recording the next episode right after this one, so you will be getting definitely a podcast released next week as well, and I shall do my very, very best to record a few more episodes as well. So hopefully this is encouragement for you, for those of you who do feel overwhelmed, who do feel as if your energies are dipping, whether it be the weather, your symptoms, whatever it is that's causing it. You don't always need to know. But for those of you who are feeling a little bit overwhelmed, a little bit shrunk energy-wise, then just remember that your worth isn't tied to your output. You're worth far more than the work, in inverted commas, that you put out. If this resonates, then feel free to message me, share this episode with a friend, or just sit back, reflect, take a nice big deep abdominal breath in and remind yourself that it is okay to rest, it's okay to take a break, it is okay to give yourself that permission just to pause and just to be. So, one of the things that I alluded to earlier was that my boundaries. I've set some boundaries and I'm going to give myself permission to take time off. So if you are listening, if you are a current one-to-one client, please don't worry. This does not impact your program at all. But I have taken the decision not to take on any new one-to-one clients for the remainder of this summer. So what am I doing instead? I don't want to not help people. So I am going to be open up a free waiting room list. So if you think that you will want to work with me, or you may want to work with me on a one-to-one basis towards the end of summer or later in the year anyway, I'm not going to set a time frame, probably autumn, because autumn is my natural energizer. So when autumn comes around, that's when I'll start to look at taking on new one-to-one clients. So if you think you may want to be one of those one-to-one clients, then there will be a free waiting room list open to you. I'm going to try and do the link for that in the show notes, so that will be live when this episode goes live. So please do register your interest there. There may be, what I might do is attach my my normal onboarding client questionnaire for you as well, so you can tell me what's going on, and then when autumn comes around I can just send a quick update reminder saying this is what you said at the time, how much of this is still true, if you do still want to work with me then. Or if you are not ready to work with me one-to-one, or that's not your thing, that's absolutely fine. My e-learning self-treatment programs are still always available, and there's something very exciting coming with this soon as well. For those of you who were there, or for those of you who saw it at the time, the recording of my 3-step to manage your endometriosis webinar, the re-recording I should say, because I've had a version of it on my website for a long time. For those of you who've seen it, yeah, it's quite a long time ago. It's pre-house move. I've got long brown hair, I think. Anyway, a long time ago. So I revamped it a couple of months ago, and I've been meaning to work on the recording of it and have it live as an evergreen, I believe they call them, website. So that will be coming soon as well. So that webinar will be free to watch, and you'll get a special thank you for watching as well. That's very, very exciting. So I shall pop the link to that on the website as soon as it is available. So keep an eye out for that as well. That's for the endometriosis specific work. But there's a whole range of e-learning programs as well. If you go to my website, healthyandwomenshealth.com, click on the free and, free and low cost resources, I think. If you click on there, you can see all of the first step programs, and there's also self-treatment programs listed on my website as well. So there's plenty of ways you can work with me, even if either you do want to do one-to-ones, but not sure you can wait that long, or that's just not your thing. Also, I should say as well that if you are a clinic client, that doesn't apply. So I'm still going to be doing one-to-one clinic sessions every Tuesday afternoon from 2 at the clinic space in Leyland. So, like I say again, thank you to those of you who stuck with me during this hiatus. I hope this episode has resonated. In the next episode, we are going to be back to talking about hormones. Until then, take care.